Welcome back to the Go Deeper podcast. Today we are talking about how there are absolutely no shortcuts on the way to becoming successful. And we ultimately live in a world where everybody wants what's fun, fast, cheap, and easy. And the reality is there's no shortcuts. It's not fast. If it's cheap, it's not good. And it's not easy. Even with all the technology and the AI and just the power of social media, it still takes time and you have to put in the reps. It's something that you can't avoid. And you have to be patient and build your tenacity as you're growing, whatever it is you want to grow, to ultimately build a brand and a business that has a very strong foundation. I think the ones that you see that take off really quick and that do really, really well also fall really fast when things get hard. But the businesses that are built on true values, good principles, backed by passion and purpose, and that ultimately took people a little bit longer to build are the ones that last generations. So today we're going to dive in and maybe pull back the curtains of what are some of the reps that we put in over the years that maybe people didn't see, and how have we built really strong businesses 20 years in to both of our businesses, which ages us. It's just, time goes by so fast. Yeah. And I think when you're in your 20s and you're getting started, it seems like time's going to go by so slow. But like looking back, would you not agree times went by really fast?
I feel like we blinked and just met.
Yeah.
But then those times sometimes seemed forever. And then it also seems like it was just yesterday. It's just crazy, like kids, business, family, events. And it's like, every life just happens so fast. But then on the outer side of it, even us, I don't think, embrace the moments sometimes, or we didn't realize how long it was going to take. I think so many people, when they're building their brand, their business, whatever, and they have that, I've seen it, they have that instant success, they burn out fast. Mm-hmm. And it's like the slow, I used to tell you all the time, slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady. I mean that because we were not overnight success. I think we always done well, but we just continued to work the 70, 80, 90 hours a week, 100 hours. Do you remember how many weeks?
Yeah.
7 days in a row. There was no off day.
When do you feel like, and let's put a number to it. I mean, I know there's probably a stat out there, but just our own success. How many years in the business were we in before we felt confident that we'd built a business that people wanted to work with, where we had reoccurring business coming back to us, and we felt like we had ultimately somewhat figured out a system and a process that we were confident in? How many years do you feel like that took you?
I feel like the gym and the gym equipment was a solid 10 years. Because I used to get asked when I first opened, if you remember, there were so many gyms coming and going back in the day that people would say, well, Steven, granted, I was 20, let's say 24, 25, 26. Steven, how do I know if I pay in full that you're going to be in business next year? And I would literally look at them in the eyes and I would say, because failure is not an option. And I will sleep here if I have to. And I put that in any business I've ever done. Failure's not Steven's not going to do the business if I even think failure's an option. So I'm going to put my blood, sweat, heart, I'm going to put everything into it.
But also when times get hard, we all have seasons of failure.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? You, as a business owner, have to have the tenacity inside of you to overcome those seasons of failure and not let them define you or take you out. And we've had lots of friends where seasons of failure, even if it was maybe in their personal life, it trickled over to their business life.
Quit.
And put them out of business. So it's definitely, it's not just getting started.
No.
It's keeping going when things get hard. And one quote I used to, say to myself is like, I am one day closer to being successful. And even though it may not be today, the time's going to pass anyway. And I'm going to learn something today that's going to end up being my future success story. How long do you feel like it took the gym equipment business?
Well, I was dabbling. I was buying and selling gym equipment just for my own gym.
And not treating it as a business at first?
No. And I met you and you were traveling up and down the East Coast with me like at wee hours of the morning. So sometimes we would work all day and then hop in the truck as soon as we got done training people or whatever. We were still doing the nightclub thing, working in a nightclub for, cash, bartending tips, nightclub security, all these things. And
that was 6 to 7 years into our business. We were still doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give people realistic, like we had our businesses. We had the gym, which was an extra side business. And then we were also buying and selling gym equipment 6 to 7 years into our main businesses.
And Friday and Saturday night, we worked the nightclub.
Yeah.
And there was no off switch. So like on a Thursday, let's say night, 6 p.m., we might hop in the truck, go drive 8 hours, barely sleeping into Friday. Like if we got home enough, if we done a 4-hour each way trip, 5 hours, maybe take a nap in the afternoon, go back to the nightclub. Or you remember this, get home at 7 p.m. from the gym, sleep for an hour nap, hop right back up to go to the nightclub, to work till 3:30 in the morning. And I think those things, though, is what defined us. But looking back, I feel like I was building a business without knowing I was building a business. But I think it was a solid probably 7 to 10 years to really cement myself that like, hey, Steven's a good dude. Steven's going to do right by you.
To get people to trust you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, trust is the foundation to me, of any business. If you can earn someone's trust, and how you earn someone's trust is doing what you say you're going to do at all costs. Even if it cost me money and something happened that's not my fault, it has happened 3 or 4 times the past couple months. Not my fault. Something happened in shipping, whatever. I have to be like, yes, sir, I apologize, but I'm going to make it right, or I'm going to figure it out, or I'm going to call the shipper for you. Things happen. You have had closings. Something happened at the last minute. It's not your fault, but who's getting cussed at?
Yeah.
I've always defined it like this because I grew up in the restaurant business. The cook cooked the steak wrong. And me and you are serving tables, and the customer is pissed, and they're yelling at the waitress or the waiter. Not the waiter's fault. They don't even know the steak's cooked wrong. But they take the brunt of it. And me as the business owner, one of my guys mess up. Who's at fault? Me. I should have overchecked it. You as the business owner of real estate, if one of your girls messes up, it still comes back on you. You're the A-team. So
it's the brand.
It's the brand.
It comes back to the brand and the one who originated it. And that's when, as you grow businesses, those are the pain points where when those things happen, I always try to ask myself, what weight of it should we have carried differently? And is there a system or a process we need to put in place so this doesn't happen again? Because the reality is when you're doing high volume, it's going to happen again.
Sure.
If you don't have a system and process put in place to ensure it doesn't. And honestly, there are some things that are just part of the business that no matter if you had a system and process, you're dealing with people.
It's going to happen.
And there's human error, which is reality. What are some reps that you put in over the years that helped you build your business that most people that know you now have never seen?
So I used to always tell you this, that I was like proud of. Some people may think this is stupid. I don't know. But for 20 years, I have still to this day never spent $1 on a Google ad. To this day. And I used to always laugh about it and pride myself that I built a national brand business with $0 spent on Google. And it was the handshakes. It was the word of mouth. Hear me out on something. What built that warehouse was 10 o'clock at night till 4 o'clock in the morning, Craigslist ads that were free, that people made fun of me for. One side, people's like, who are you selling that old rusty junk to? But my wife, girlfriend then, would wake up to 30 missed phone calls on my phone and people coming to one of my storage buildings or my house or my gym to buy gym equipment. It worked, but I had to put in the reps. Those 6 hours every single night, 7 days a week was literally part of my job that I'd already worked 2 or 3 other jobs during the day. I was barely sleeping. I'd go to bed at 4:30, and usually the phone would wake me up by 7, 8. And I mean, I don't even know how I was functioning back then.
It was rigid consistency, though.
For years.
For years. And it was ultimately, just to put into perspective, there wasn't Facebook Marketplace. It was really the only place to advertise something used for sale. And you honestly built the brand there before like you built it on social media. And you would also say out loud to me, I'm going to sell X amount of money tomorrow. And it was like wild. Every single time you said that, it like happened.
And what about the people that I was meeting along the way?
Oh.
The gym owners that were driving.
Yeah. So I think it was a compounding effect of you, of your consistency, doing what you needed to do that others were not willing to do. And then ultimately backing your word by what you were putting out there, and you were willing to put in the work.
Well, hear me out on something. What people didn't see back then, I had to acquire the equipment first. So not only did I have to market the equipment that I was getting, I had to also find the equipment. That's called connections. That's called guerrilla marketing of handshakes. That's called meeting the right people that lead me to the other right people.
And people were seeing you on Craigslist after
yeah.
a while, and they would start calling you of like, hey, you're that gym equipment guy on Craigslist.
So,
and keep in mind, it was just him and I. I mean, we were the acquiring, refurbishing department, loading, unloading.
Well, Bryce was becoming a big part back then of that.
Not right at first, though. Not when it was at our house.
No, not right at first. And then I think he bought, if you remember, I let him sell his first elliptical.
Yeah.
And it hit home.
He was working at the gym at the time.
Yeah. And it hit home to him. But to go back to the story, I was pretty deep in with no website. In reality, everything was just Super Fitness. What's your company? Super Fitness.
You were downplaying it for a long time.
A long time.
I would be like, Joker, this is a business and we got to set it up like one. Like legally set it up like one. Yeah. But you also had to like you were afraid of it. And I think that's something that's normal for a lot of people.
I don't think I liked the people that were not buying from me. The people that was like, oh, what are you selling that old rusty junk for? Oh, they downplayed what I did and what I had to offer.
But then you allowed them to.
I shouldn't have, but I was 20 some years old.
Yeah.
And I maybe lacked that confidence to speak up, even though I was very confident in what I was selling. And
so that's a lesson to share.
Absolutely. And then if you remember this, I had no website, no social media. And I told you one day out of the blue, I said, I'm going to create a Facebook. I had Facebook that I started tagging Craigslist. So at the very bottom of each Craigslist that I wrote a detailed, sometimes it would take me 5 minutes to 30 minutes to write. I would tell where the piece come from, the whole nine, and very, very detailed. And then I started putting the Facebook, if you remember that. So the Facebook started getting a little traction, but for months I had no following on the business Facebook. That Facebook, and I've said it on here before, at its peak hit 128,000 followers, I think in 2015, 2016.
And pretty quickly.
Because if you remember, we moved in our house and we had bought our new house, which in 2015, our current house, not new, no more. And I was very busy with gym equipment by that point. And what most people don't understand is that Facebook would literally, I would just hold my phone up, I'd film myself for 10 seconds, and then I would film gym equipment for 15 minutes. I remember getting hundreds of thousands of views.
You were doing content before content was a thing.
I didn't even know I was doing content. No. I just was nerding. It wasn't
called content.
I was a nerd with gym equipment.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And so then I'm like, okay, we need a website to look professional. But those reps is what the world 20 years ago didn't see. They didn't see it. They didn't know. And it all started with just like being a small gym owner that turned to the bigger gym owner that started selling equipment.
You were doing the boring, hard stuff that nobody wants to do. I mean, even recently I said, would we go back and do absolutely everything we did and create this all over again? Like, I would love for each one of us to like step back into our previous self and look at what we did and would our now self do it again. But I think when you have nothing to lose and when you have nothing, you should be willing to do the grunt work. And if you're not going to get the success. And I think that's what so many people try to skip is they try to skip the grunt work. They try to skip the self-growth. They try to skip the working on you side of you. And sometimes success happens, but most of the time it doesn't because they're not willing to do what it takes.
I 1,000% agree. People don't understand usually what it takes and the long, boring road that it takes and the consistency. And then I want to say this right now. 2020 hits, COVID. And Steven went back to the 10-year prior Steven.
You pivoted quick.
a different ad every single night on Craigslist, on Marketplace, on all my social media platforms, basically letting people know that if you need equipment, you can come to me. And thousands of people were coming. Did it blow our mind?
It blew your mind, but it shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. I think it blew our mind from the people that were in your ear, the gym owners. The general public is who we kind of sold to first, to be real. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the gym owner at first, so it shouldn't have blown our mind because the foundational basic principles of business will work no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's just we had gotten away from it and you had pivoted your business model to catering to more the gym owner that you know,
sure,
and not direct marketing to the direct consumer.
Mm-hmm. I'd stopped
you had done it before.
Oh, yeah.
And you had built a much larger following. So then when you did it again, it was quicker and way more impactful.
Sure.
You know, it's like the first time you drop a pin, it just goes out a little bit. That's what you were doing like consistently at first, but you had already grew a following and then you dropped a pin and that, following it was a huge ripple effect.
Sure.
So it shouldn't have surprised us.
Sure.
But I think it did because and this is a lesson for a business owner, never get so stuck in what is making you successful now that you forget what made you successful in the first place.
I always tell people, don't get on their high horse.
No.
Because you may have to go back. Like, I hate to say this, but if everybody left your business, you're the business owner, you better know how to do every job within that business. Mm-hmm. You better know how to clean the bathrooms, how to drive the forklift for you. You better still remember how to do handwritten. We've had credit card processors go down before.
Yeah.
You better know how to do it the old school way. Mm-hmm. Software does fail sometimes.
Yeah.
So you better be set up for the old school way of doing business.
Yeah. And I think the old school way never dies, to be honest with you.
Nope.
You can't just live and die on social media or your business is going to die at some point. I mean, I think social media is going to be around forever for our generation.
Sure.
But that can't be the only source of your business. You have to have another pillar of your business.
Well, me and you hadn't done handwritten contracts in a long time, but we still
I still have on some of my old school people.
Do you?
Oh, you're saying at the gym?
At the gyms or your business, I was meaning.
The gym, I don't know if I could walk in and do it. I'm sure I could figure it out. But real estate, there are some old school people that don't use electronic signature yet that I still have to do handwritten. Now, we'll prep it all typed in.
Yeah.
But we meet with them and sign and go over the contract in person.
And I'm an old school person.
Yeah,
I still like doing it old school.
You are more old school than you are new school.
I am.
One thing I wanted to convey is just from my perspective, I think so many people walk in and they ask me nowadays, like how do I just handle things all of it so well? Like I have a full plate. I'm a business owner. I'm still in production. I have a husband. I have kids. I supported 15 people on my real estate team. And it's like, how do you do it all? And how do you not lose your marbles? And how do you stay sane? And how do you stay aligned? And the reality is, if I had all of this on my plate in my early 20s, it would look a lot different. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have been prepared to handle all of it. But for the past 20 years, I've gotten up and spent time with myself and the Lord every single morning. You know, I wasn't in my Bible as much in my 20s. I was more like watching Joyce Meyer every single morning or watching Joel Osteen and like learning the scripture that way. And as I've gotten older and more mature and wiser, like I read the scripture on my own. And I even this morning, I studied the scripture on my own on is winning biblical and how do we make winning biblical? And it's powerful. Mm-hmm. And I think so many agents or just women in general reach out to me and ask me those questions. And I always want to say, like, I didn't just wake up this way. And it's taken me 20 years of gaining all of this knowledge alongside the experience. It's taken me 20 years to seek out all of this knowledge and self-growth and self-help and self-healing and allowing, this is the key differentiating factor. You can have all the knowledge, but you also have to apply it. And when you're working through self-help and self-healing, you have to be 100% real with yourself. Mm-hmm. So I have spent 20 years of my life getting up every single morning early to make sure that I prepare myself for every single day so I am who really God wants me to be. Because when we live in such a busy world like you and I live in, I mean, even before we got on this podcast, you're 100 miles an hour over there. You can lose sight of who you are.
Oh.
And it's the quickest way to fail. You can get wrapped up in the business and lose yourself in the business.
Well, think about the quote.
And that's losing.
If you fail to prepare,
Yeah.
you prepare to fail.
But I think there's so many people that just pop up every morning and expect life to look great, and they never even spend time with themselves and the Lord, and then they're living lost.
Well, how many people have you heard before? I'm waiting for the opportunity. No, you got to go get the opportunity.
Yeah, you have to seek it.
There's people seeking the opportunity.
And be prepared for it.
Oh, well, both. But that's what I'm saying. It just don't, yes, sometimes something falls in someone's lap. I'm not saying that.
But people don't always see it.
Correct.
Us included.
Oh, absolutely. But at the end of the day, things happen when you have been prepared and you've been doing something for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then more opportunities come, more people start saying, I mean, this literally just popped in my brain. What did I just send you tell people literally 2 hours ago out of the blue that was today?
Yeah. It was, so I got up, this was me spending time with myself this morning. I was just preaching to my team yesterday of like, winning, we need to be winners. I'm a winner. I want to be surrounded by winners. And then like the Lord placed on my heart this morning, like, is winning biblical? And I know we're going to do a podcast on this, but like, is winning biblical? And then it was, I posted it on social media, and then a friend of ours who he coaches, like mentally coaches athletes.
Ben Newman is our friend.
Yeah.
And he's a big deal. Everybody can look him up. I get a voice note and a photo, and it's the nicest voice note I've received in a long time.
Kind.
And go ahead.
It was just very kind, and it did touch me because I think so often you want to give up, and then like something is just laid on your heart and it touches somebody. And I'm just trying to slow down and not be so busy and like listen to the Holy Spirit guiding me more, because it's one thing to like pray for the Lord's alignment, but it's another thing to like allow it to happen. And I can definitely be very guilty of being so busy that I sometimes like don't allow it to happen, don't believe I'm worthy of it happening, or I just don't even pay attention to it and I just ignore it and go on to the next thing. And I think that's not what, the Lord wants for us in any way, form of the imagination. And if I'm reading all of this knowledge but not applying it, if you're posting all these Craigslist ads and not converting it, what are you doing?
No, nothing.
You're not doing anything.
Well, if you're making content and it's not good content, nobody's going to watch.
Exactly.
If we're making this podcast and we're just talking out of our you-know-what, and it's not good points for people, nobody's going to watch or listen.
Right. So the fact of the matter is it does take putting in the reps. It does take aligning yourself. It does take preparing yourself. And it also takes really a circle around you that when things get hard or scary, like good scary, not bad scary, when things get scary, somebody tells you like, step into it, lean into it. I mean, you avoided your calling Super Fitness used gym equipment for probably 5 years.
I did.
You were afraid. You're afraid. There's so many people afraid of success. Yeah.
I didn't think, hey, I'm going to be selling gym equipment around the world. I had no idea. And where probably was scared a little bit is some people, they're only looking for the cheapest price.
Yeah.
They shortcut this, and this is what this podcast is about. And I'll explain. If someone calls me, and this has happened to me for years, and they're like, well, Stephen, I found this piece for $200-300 cheaper. I'm like, okay, who's selling it? What kind of condition is it in? Is the bearings good on it? Is this machine, mine looks brand new. What does that one look like? Oh, I'm a reputable supplier. Are they? Do you need, oh, they're in the Midwest. It's going to cost you $700 to ship it. You can come pick mine up. You're closer. I'll never forget this, and this is a key point. A guy that I know, I had a leg press at the time, and it was around $2,000. And I told him I can sell it for $2,000. He said, I found one for $1,500, and I cannot remember, this has been a long time, if it was on Marketplace or Craigslist. And I said, man, those are selling for about $2,500. $2,000 is a good deal. I told him straight up, I paid more than $1,500 for it. So I wasn't making a lot of money. I've got labor. I've got this. I've got that. I said, look, those are problematic for the bearings. I said, and I was just giving him my heart, being nice. He was going to take off work and drive 7 hours each way to save $500. I said, no problem. I said, because I knew mine would sell. And I could sell it for more, but this guy bought equipment from me, and I was trying to be nice. I was giving him a good deal. So next thing I know, he decides to go get that leg press. He gets it back home. He said he tried it at the guy's house. He gets it back home and he throws 4 or 5 45s on each side. Guess what shot? The bearings. Those bearings were $275 a piece and they needed 4. And so I tell people, so he called me in panic. Now, guess what? He doesn't know. That's just the bearing cost. He don't know how to remove the sled to put them on. Now, you know how heavy a leg press is.
And it's unorthodox too.
Right.
You're
and
not
so
doing it by yourself.
He's in trouble. And I said, look, this is a good learning lesson for you. I've been doing this a long time. And, you know, not to the magnitude I am now, but I was very knowledgeable back then. I'm like, I tried to tell you that was too cheap. And sometimes a good deal is not a good deal. So you took time off work. You spent a shit ton in fuel. You literally just drove 14 hours plus how long you were ever there. And now you could have just bought my leg press. Now you've costed yourself probably minimum $3,000. So he's got over $1,000 in parts. He's going to have to pay somebody. He never could fix it. He had problem. He didn't know how to fix it. So you got a paperweight sitting there if you don't fix it. And I always tell people, I'm like, listen, the shortcut is not the way. I would much rather pay more money to know someone's in my corner, period.
And if it's cheaper, there's a reason why it's cheaper.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why there's some, I always say cheap is a mindset. And that may sound ugly, but it's reality because if they're cheap in one aspect of life, they're usually cheap in all aspects of life. And it comes from a place of lack versus abundance. And I'm just a believer when you buy good stuff, when you invest in yourself, when you do good things, like good things will happen.
Absolutely.
And we are big believers too in supporting local businesses. And that means if we pay more, we pay more. And so do those things, you know?
Well,
don't buy the cheap thing.
Like our local people, local meats, local vendors, local anything.
Yeah.
I want to help keep them in business.
Me
And
too.
I also know what it's like. And guess what? If we have a problem, guess who answers the phone?
Yeah.
They do.
Well, people buy people, and I'm not buying products from their location for the product. I'm buying it because I love their story, to be honest with you, and I'm investing in them and their business, and I hope it stays and flourishes in our community. I'm going to talk about a time like shortcuts cost me money in my early 20s. In my early 20s, and I think this is probably relative to most people in the early 20s, especially if you had a hard childhood or upbringing, I was doing like in my Bible every single morning, but I wasn't applying it and I wasn't paying attention to the hurt inside of me. I was just masking it with all this positive energy and self-help, but I wasn't helping myself. Does that make sense? I think you can pour so much knowledge in you that should be helping you, but until you sit with yourself, you're not going anywhere. You're just masking it. And I think that's true whether you're in business, relationships. You have to sit with the truth and you have to face it, whether it's good, bad, ugly. And you just have to, I had to just invite the Lord in and say, like, heal me. I don't know how to heal this. I don't know how to fix it. And one thing that, Pastor Josh preached last year is self-help only takes you so far. And honestly, self-help books are a shortcut. Because there's positive thinking, but then there's also like soulful healing. You're only going to go in life as far as your own self-worth is inside. And self-help only gets you so far to healing that. So to me, when I started to dive deeper into my 30s and heal myself and really even just like let you love me, honestly.
She still struggles.
It's a struggle. It's getting better. But like letting people in, letting myself in, even letting myself love myself, you can't skip that part. And I think you see so many people in their 30s and 40s, their unhealed inner child comes out again. And my unhealed inner child could have came out again too, very easily. But I faced her and I'm healing her. So anybody that's out there that's in like a struggling season and you feel like you're repeating what your childhood was, I would really encourage you to spend some time with yourself, spend some time with the Lord, invite him in. You can't skip that part. Your business and your life is only going to grow to the level of you.
I agree.
And your own growth. So although I was masking, I would say, a lot of my inner child stuff in my 20s, I faced it in my 30s. And now I'm like coming into myself in my 40s. Now, if you've been blessed to not have stuff happen in your life, maybe that happens in your 20s and you're at a more peaceful place. But I think also a shortcut to healing yourself can be masking it in success.
Sure.
And growing a business that becomes your identity, and that will lead you to burnout. When your identity is not tied to a purpose, it's tied to your success in that business. And that's where you see people crash and burn if something happens to their business, because they allowed that business to be their only self-worth thermometer for themselves. And that's not healthy at all in any
shortcuts in anything's not good.
No.
And I'll base a good point on this. This September, I've been working out 30 years. 30 years. It's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
And you've been with me.
Consistently.
Yeah, consistently. No
like
off days.
If you skip a day, it's because you're traveling and we just can't.
Yes.
Or you're really, really sick, which doesn't happen very often.
Even traveling.
Yeah.
We're going to wake up and do our cardio. And that might be just walking the street, walking the boardwalk, walking wherever we are. And usually a lot of our trips are gym related or real estate. So we're at a hotel gym and we might do a little 20, 30-minute body workout, nothing crazy, but makes us feel better, gets us going that day. We enjoy it. That's what we do. But I've seen a lot of people shortcut supplementation, shortcut food, all these GL1Ps, and I'm not knocking any of these peptides or anything like that. The reason I even bring this up, these are all things that can be put in the program. But you have been with me, and people will say, Stephen, golly, you're still, walk around with muscle mass for 20 years. And you've seen me much bigger back in the day, in my bodybuilding days.
You look much better now than you did then. Like,
thanks.
To me,
thanks.
That's a compliment. You look great in your 40s.
Okay.
There's not many people that can say that, especially a man.
And that's where I'm going with this.
And you can't, it's not testosterone.
No.
That's done it. It is diet and exercise consistently for decades.
And that's what I want people to hear. I was 19 years old, 6'2", 240. I am going to be 42 soon. I am 6'2", 240. Roughly, but
we really need to put up a side-by-side comparison of what 240 looked then versus now.
The body is completely different.
Totally different.
But at the end of the day, I am literally night and day different person age-wise. But the consistency, there was no shortcuts. I did not start at 12 years old. I had built up by 21 years old a great base foundation before I ever really touched any supplementation. And now going on 8+ years with very little supplementation, all through medical provider, I keep a balanced, good physique by putting in the work still. There's no shortcuts. So many people, they gained 25 pounds. They lost every bit of muscle mass they put on.
Shortcuts don't last.
No. And that's whether
look at Botox doesn't last. You have to redo it every 6 months.
Right.
So in reality, there's any shortcut is short. It's short-lived.
Period.
And you can Botox your face, but you can't just Botox a business. You can't Botox a marriage. That's not reality. You have to put in the work consistently when it's good, bad, profitable, not profitable. If you're going to be in business, you are going to go through seasons of not being profitable if you're looking at your P&L, and you're going to go through seasons where you thrive. But you have to be so deeply rooted in the purpose of why you're doing that business in the first place, or you are going to burn out.
Well, listen to this.
You're going to give up.
Our marriage is work.
Yeah.
It's communication. It's work. It's not just, hey,
it's good seasons and bad
I
seasons.
do something terrible to my wife and I go buy her a gift and that Band-Aids the situation. That's shortcutting it.
Yeah.
You have not
1000%.
fixed nothing.
No, you've made it worse, honestly.
You've made
toxic.
it worse. People who were buying people's affiliation, their friendship, their marriage, whatever, I promise you it will never last.
That's fake to me. And that makes me uck you even saying that.
I've never been that guy anyway.
No, I know.
Neither of you.
No.
And my wife,
that's our values.
Nor you don't expect it.
No.
We don't go eat on Valentine's Day.
No.
Randomly because the restaurants are packed. We'd rather go to the grocery store, cook our own meal on Valentine's Day and have a nice dinner or with our family at this point. And when we can go out the following weekend, we'll go.
Yeah.
There's no shortcuts, fake. Prime example. I would rather wear $100 watch that is real than a fake Rolex or anything. Because I would know, if no one knew in my brain, and we've talked about this before, that it was fake. So I'm just not going to go buy it, period, because you're shortcutting it.
I think the root of all of this, though, is when you shortcut it, you're living a fake facade because you know you shortcutted it.
Sure.
And I want to tie it into your world a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I love the fitness industry. I'm not making a jab at you, but there is a lot of fake mofos in the fitness world that have this huge ambiance and following online, but live reckless,
I agree,
broken, in many ways broken lives. But to the rest of the world, they're idolized.
Sure.
So I want you, if you're online following people, really check yourself. And I say this to myself too. Who are you idolizing? First of all, you shouldn't be idolizing anybody in the flesh. But if you are idolizing and looking up to somebody, are they living a life online that matches their real life?
I agree.
And that to me is where our values live. Who you see us be on this podcast is who we are in real life.
Absolutely.
And the values that we preach are the values we live. And to me, we're not shortcutting it. This is who we are. You can love us or not love us. We love you anyways. And not shortcutting is what builds it.
Absolutely.
And if we were on here shortcutting it and not passionate about doing it and not having it tied to creating an impact, you're not going to be happy. And I think that's why you see people hate it and burn out in business so quick, because they're doing it for the notoriety. They're doing it for the flesh. They're doing it for the ego. They're not doing it to make impact.
Yeah.
When you're doing it to make impact and you've tied it to a purpose, it's way harder to give up and it's way harder to take shortcuts. It's also why we're so passionate about it and why we take it so personal. Because we've never taken a shortcut and we've put in the reps and it's blood, sweat, and tears and a purpose that's like tied to our souls, which is why like people jabbing at us or hard times or people criticizing us, like we take to heart because we've built it.
I think that if the people that know us, they know we didn't shortcut it. I mean, you have been told so many times locally. It's like, man, Stephen worked from a young boy.
Yeah.
And they know.
They've witnessed it.
But then if you are new to watching us on the podcast or watching our socials or anything like that, you may not know. And so we are literally doing this podcast to pour our heart and soul for impacting others. It makes us feel good. We get heartfelt messages. And at the end of the day, if you're doing anything and you're doing it for any other reason, let's just say to get rich, whatever, you're doing it truly for the wrong reasons. Because I feel like truly the more we've poured out, the more we have received, not just in financials, but just in so many things. In fact, if we probably never made any more money than we're making, I think we'd be perfectly okay with that. The thing about it is what we're doing is bringing in a new audience, which then brings more people to us. And that's called making impact. And truly, I think that's the most fulfilling thing that you can do in this world. Or now that we're seeing our kids, making impact with them and then literally mimicking me or you, it's the most fulfilling thing I've ever seen, because you can't put into words that feeling. So in closing, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I want this message to hit anybody that's like in your struggling season and God's laid a purpose on your heart and you probably don't see how it's going to come to fruition yet. Keep going. Like, don't give up. I say to myself all the time, there's so many times over the last 20 years I could have given up and I didn't. And thank God I didn't, because I wouldn't be making the impact, building the businesses, changing lives, living the blessed life that we live if I would have given up.
Sure. No, I agree. I think we'll end with that because it's such a beautiful statement. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.